Okay, we have Senators Murray and Klobuchar and Schatz. And before I get into my substantive remarks, I just heard something that Trump said. Here's what he said. We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible and bad for them, and irreversible like cutting vast numbers of people out. Well, there it is. Trump admitted himself that he is using Americans as political pawns. He is admitting that he is doing the firing of people, if God forbid it happens. He's using Americans as pawns, as I said. Democrats do not want a shutdown. We stand ready to work with Republicans to find a bipartisan compromise, and the ball's in their court. When he says he will do things, he is taking ownership. He is taking ownership. It's just like in his first term when he said he will own the shutdown. It's just a point I wanted to make. Okay, now, we're 10 hours away from government funding expiring simply because the Republicans are not serious about keeping it open. Finally, after months of asking, and mounting pressure, Leader Jeffries and I went to the White House yesterday to meet with the President and Republican leaders to find a way forward. And sitting in the room, it was very clear, behind closed doors, that the President hasn't fully grasped the magnitude of the disaster he's causing Americans. As costs continue to skyrocket for Americans, thanks to Trump's tariffs, economic policies, clean energy policies, and disastrous blunders, Americans are prepared to spend 114% more on their health insurance. That's right, that just came out. According to the Kaiser Families Foundation's analysis today, without ACA premium tax credits, premiums will double, more than double on average. And this not only affects those on ACA, it affects just about every American family with health insurance, because it is, as has been documented, when they get the deep cuts on ACA and on Medicaid, they don't have as much money, and they raise the costs on everybody else. So virtually no American with health insurance is immune from these disastrous Trump cuts. And what are Republicans doing about this? Avoiding lying. This week, look at this poster. This one here. Let's get it front and center. I borrowed Thune's poster today, as many of you saw. This is what the House Republican Conference called. Lisa McClain, the head, walked members through Poland and advised them not to make the message about health care, because ours lose that argument. That's not me. That's one of the Republican leaders who's in charge of messaging. They're right. She's right. Their position is so callous, and the damage is much greater than even people thought, that it's very unpopular. So when they're up against the brutal fact that Americans are to pay, take this one up, 114% more for marketplace enrollees who currently receive financial assistance. That's the Kaiser Foundation. It's devastating to them. And let me be clear, because they like to tell lies because they can't argue the merits. So they make up things. They said, they're saying undocumented people cannot and will not receive premium tax credits. They say that undocumented people are going to get these credits. That is absolutely false. That is one of the big lies they tell, so they don't have to discuss the issues. The federal government, by law that we passed, does not fund health insurance for undocumented immigrants in Medicaid, period, nor the ACA, nor Medicare. Undocumented immigrants do not get federal health insurance premiums, period. Period. They're lying. I hope you'll call them on it when they bring it up. Some of the newspapers have. Okay? I said this directly to Speaker Johnson in the Oval Office. I told him what he was saying was bull, because he said, you guys want that. And he just smirked and didn't even answer it. And why are they lying? They know how unpopular their position is on health care, that they shouldn't talk about it. Republicans know perfectly well that undocumented immigrants are already prohibited, as I said, from getting insurance on ACA, Medicare, or Medicaid. They know perfectly well not a single sentence or clause or comma that we're pushing in our bill does that, but they're lying because they know they're screwed if this debate turns into one about health care. And guess what? That's just what we are doing. We are making this debate a debate on health care. If you want an indication of how serious Republicans are about keeping the government open, who wants the shutdown? There's no better proof than the fact that Speaker Johnson sent everybody home this week, ensuring a shutdown no matter what the Senate did. So don't argue who wants the shutdown. It's Johnson. And when we asked President Trump to meet with us, Hakeem and I, by all reports, it was Johnson who made him pull the meeting back. Pull the meeting back. And if you want another indication, and so, by the way, so the House Republicans should be here, but they're home. If you want another indication of how serious Republicans are about funding the government, look no further than the deepfake AI video the President tried to put up last night after our meeting, when we were actually trying to fund the government. His video was dumb, it was childish, it was petty. It's something that a 5-year-old would do, not a president of the United States, but it shows how unserious they are. They don't give a damn about the harm they will cause with their shutdown. Now, Republicans have until midnight to cut the garbage and get serious with us about solving the health care crisis. When I was majority leader, this is what I did with Thune's chart this morning. He had all these years that we passed CRs. We passed budget bills. We did. You know why? As leader, I sat down with the Republicans every one of those years and created a bipartisan bill. Their bill is partisan. They call it clean. We call it partisan. It has no Democratic input. Thune never talked to me. Johnson never talked to Hakeem. And now Thune is saying, well, the appropriators are working at it. As Patty will tell you, they are working out, trying to work out some budget bills. But the two issues they couldn't decide were health care and rescissions, impoundment, pocket rescissions. And they all agreed the four leaders should decide that. And that's when we wrote Thune, and that's when we wrote Johnson, and they never even met with us. So that's why we were able to avoid shutdowns, because we did it in a bipartisan way. They are partisan totally with no input from us. So as Republicans continue to lie, distract, duck, hide, Democrats remain ready to get to work, negotiate a bipartisan agreement, and keep the government funded. Senator Murray. I'm going to take all my papers here. Thank you.
Well, there is less than 12 hours to fund the government. House Republicans aren't even here in town, they're on vacation. Meanwhile, Senate Republicans are about to force another vote on a bill that already did not pass and that 8 of them did not even bother to show